7 games on Saturday. Let's take a look at them. Who can we stream in across the weekend to get some fantasy basketball W's? Michael Bolton?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and the Fast 5 men's netball team absolutely ate. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of high net worth for any net worth. The generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Also, don't forget to be a double banger and make this your first and second listen/watch/view every day. Thumb it up and leave your comments down below. You watch the audio and... well, you listen to the audio, actually, and you watch the video, double banging. That's where we go with that. All right, we're here to talk Saturday. Again, this is when I do the Saturday previews. It is a little earlier in the day. We have baseball commitments to go off to early in the day, so I'll get this show out for you. Even though it is just a little bit early, and I would like to get some more injury updates, but that is, unfortunately, that is what or how it works, and that's how the day goes. So there you go. Let's talk what's on my radar for the 7 games that are on early game. It is a 5 p.m. Eastern game, the first one. So just be aware of that there is that early one. It is in Utah. So what is that? That's a 3 p.m. Salt Lake game. Knicks at Jazz. What do I want to watch in this one? Well, let's talk schedule. Actually, we'll clear this off the bat. No weekend back-to-backs. No one plays on the weekend back-to-back. There's none. So these teams obviously play Saturday, and then they both go into 4-game weeks next week. New York is the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, whereas Utah's got a weird double back-to-back schedule. Tuesday, Wednesday, then Saturday, Sunday. Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa are both out. Achiuwa might be coming back during the week, but he's out for now. And then Juice McBride's missed the last few with knee inflammation, so we'll put him questionable. And then for the Jazz, last game, Kyle Filipowski left the game with an ankle sprain. I'd be very skeptical that Kyle is available in this one. So I've listed him doubtful. Jordan Clarkson, the man on the street, he also left, or he didn't left the last game. He just didn't play in the last game, so I'll put him questionable. And then we don't really have any clue on Walker Kessler and his alleged availability at some point or some time in some space, in some dimension. I don't know. He's getting a little Mark Williamsy. Love to get an update on actually what's going on with old mate Walker. For the Knicks, Mikal Bridges just remains a source of interest to me, like defensive stats, maybe ever. Going to take a free throw at all? Where's the usage going to lie? I think that... I don't know if that's true, but I think my preseason evaluation of him is definitely not someone I want in the 50s, but that 80 to 90 zone is probably going to end up about right. But how he gets there still remains to be a mystery to me as to which things work and which things don't. On the Jazz side of things, I feel like the Jazz might be the team that I just don't know anything about. And I feel like they don't know anything about them, and that's not 100% a sledge against them. It's just that everything changes every 5 minutes. Like, what is Colin Sexton? I thought, given what we saw from him last season, that he'd lock in, he'd play 31 minutes a night, and they'd really like it. But no, it's like 31, it's 28, it's 22, it's 24, it's 27, it's no touches, it's a million touches. It's Johnny Juzang over him. Now it's him doing everything. Then it's a game where there's no Jordan Clarkson, he still does nothing. I don't know. I don't know with any of these guys. So we just continue to watch Sexton and how it plays out with all these other guys. And then you get random pop-offs from guys like Double Diamond, Onyx, Platinum, Legend, Titanium, Bryce Sensabaugh last game. Like, did any of you Double Onyx Legends have him? I'm sure you did. By the way, if you want to hear, maybe I'll link it below, the origin of me saying Onyx, like Onyx. Someone said I tried to find the video, I couldn't find it. Don't worry, I've got it. I'll drop it in the comments below on YouTube if you want to see the original video of that. It's like a 2-minute video. Who is streaming in? Campaign has been very good. Now, if Juice McBride does return for the Knicks, then the Payne stream probably want to see a urologist about that. But the Cameron Payne temporary fantasy ad maybe isn't as good. but he has been playing really well. And then on the Jazz, I'm expecting that Filipowski is out. I am also probably closer to expecting that Walker Kessler doesn't play. And they could do two things. They can start John Collins and Larry Markin at the 4 and the 5, which I think they probably will. And then move like Cody Williams in at the 3, or Bryce Sensabaugh at the 3, or go really small with Collier, George. Oh, Collier's not that small. Collier, George, and Sexton, maybe. Or they throw, I said Williams in there as well. There's numerous things they can do. But irrespective of that, there are two centers on this team. If Eubanks and Kessler are out, if Kessler and Filipowski are out, I got my white guys mixed up in Utah. Jeez, what a surprise that would be. Drew Eubanks is going to have to play. And we've seen him, not last year, he sucked in Phoenix, but in Portland in the past on bad teams, he can put up numbers, and he's done it this season. So, all you double onyx, diamond, platinum, titanium legends, Drew Eubanks is going to be an interesting option under the assumption that both Kessler and Filipowski are out. And if one of them's out, there's still a little bit there for Drusuf. Let's go to the second game. We're talking the Detroit Pistons up against my Orlando Franz Wagner's Razzmatazz. They both go 4 games the next week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for Detroit, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday for Orlando. Bobby Klintman is out. We don't have the update yet. I'm going to keep checking as we do this. We don't have the update yet on Asar Thompson. He was doubtful last game, then ruled out. I'm going to put him on the doubtful side of questionable, or the questionable side of doubtful, however you want to phrase it. Remember, doubtful is officially 25% chance of playing. To me, it's 10% chance. But if I'm going to put someone as a DQ or a QD, that's maybe like a 25. Maybe that's, if I do a QD or a DQ, that's maybe the official doubtful designation, which is 25% chance of playing, which is sort of where I put Asar. We also had Cade Cunningham fall on his ass, right on his coccyx, right on his tailbone last game, and didn't return for overtime. John Blair Bickerstaff did not give an update post-practice on Cade. I'll put him questionable. If he is out, it's way more for Ivy to do. And then it's Hardaway and Beasley get probably a little bit more playing time, but it's someone like Marcus Sasser, or again, for you double Onyx, Diamond, Platinum, Titanium legends, we're talking about Wendell Moore Jr., who's an out-of-position point forward who does get assists, but with bad shooting. On the Magic side, Paolo remains out and will remain out. This is interesting here. I'll talk about that in a second. And Wendell Carter is officially questionable again. He's been questionable for 2 games in a row. The back-to-back didn't play either of them. He at some point is going to play, and then we have to see what happens with Wagner, Mo, and with Goga Badadze, the Dart. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope missed the last game in LA for personal reasons. Not sure why. Remember that time when KCP wasn't allowed to leave California? He had to play with an ankle bracelet on, with a monitor. Remember that? I don't know. If you think that I'm lying, go and have a look. There are photos of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope playing an NBA game with an ankle monitor on. It's true. So, yeah, I don't know what happened yesterday, but he's back and he's ready to go here back at home. What are we watching on the Pistons? Jalen Duren, because at the moment he plays terrible. And one thing I've noticed, I think there'll be a few little side notes as we go through this. And I always try and wade through foolishness in many social media spots to find interesting parts and pieces that I think we can all take lessons away from. And I saw someone talking about Jalen Duren across in Reddit, and someone said, man, I grabbed this guy early round 4 because Josh was hyping him up, but man, what a disappointment. I believe what he said. Was I? I'm very certain that I said about Jalen Duren, I'm worried about the upside here, because if Isaiah Stewart's playing exclusively at center, there's no way that he's only playing 15 minutes a night. And Stewart is a better center than power forward, and that will cap what Duren's able to do. So I'm a little worried, given how shocking he is at defense as well, Duren, that I'm a little worried here. So I think sometimes people either mishear, mislisten, misremember, create false stories in their head. Apologies to that man. But I feel like I've been very much on the, I don't know about Duren. And I'm even more so on the, I don't know now. Let's see what they do. But he has stunk for the majority of this season. Franz Wagner's another one that was very interesting. And again, this goes into the psychology of selling high and buying low and people trying to get gotchas and that. Because last week I had Franz Wagner on the sell high. So, of course, yesterday after he pops off for a game-winning shot against the Lakers, someone goes, hey, is he still a sell high? Yeah. Thanks, you're actually proving my point. Because if someone pops off, has the game of the ages, every dickhead in the world is talking about Franz Wagner and how awesome he is and how he's taking these steps forward, and you got people saying, KOC saying he's an all-NBA player, and that is the absolute yes, the sell high actually is more now. It is increased. And like I said on the show, it's the STPLTG. You are going to take a hit on Franz Wagner at the moment if you trade him away. But with this hype like pushing through the roof, how does he get better than this? And what can you get back? And also an update. I mentioned a trade about Franz Wagner and Paul George a while ago. And people got the details there a little bit wrong. What happened was, I was going through and processing all of the trades in all the Locked On Fantasy Basketball leagues, which there are 90 of them or whatever there are, right? And I processed the trade, and then I realized after I had processed it, it was actually to me, and I didn't actually view it or accept or pay attention to it. And what it was is me trading away Paul George and someone giving me Franz Wagner. This was about 3 weeks ago. And I tweeted about it, said, look, I'll let it stand because I didn't, that's my bad for not doing it. I made the mistake. And I would have received Franz Wagner in exchange for Paul George. But the guy who sent the trade said, no, look, I don't want to do a trade like that if if you didn't pay attention and you didn't mean to accept it, so we'll just reverse it. So I reversed it. So I didn't trade Franz Wagner away to get Paul George, as some people think. It was just an error in terms of accepting it. And like in hindsight, I should have taken that trade, and I should have taken Franz Wagner because he's been unbelievable compared to Paul George. But I didn't, just because the guy reversed it and I hadn't examined it. Right? So again, just clearing up misconceptions. Who are we streaming in for Detroit? Tim Hardaway probably still starts. He's been absolutely brutal since returning. Malik Beasley would be your option, but he's been rostered in a lot of leagues, and that makes sense. Hardaway's your other one to go for. Otherwise, if Cade is out and there's other options appearing there. And then Mo Wagner is a very high efficiency scoring option that you can go with in Orlando, although it does get messy if old mate Wendell Carter does return to this one. We've got more games to talk about because I just went way too long on that one with side stories and side quests that probably I shouldn't have, but that's okay. We'll come back with more streams of the day, schedule outlooks as well. But today's episode is brought to you by Chime. There is a point in every person's life, young man, young woman, old man, old woman, where you got to start thinking about finances. So take control of your finances with a Chime checking account. Find out more about it at chime.com/NBA. Chime helps you make that progress on your finances faster with fee-free overdraft up to $200. There are no monthly fees. There are no maintenance fees. You get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. Chime has spotted members over $30 billion so far. Friends giving friends a boost. Set up a direct deposit in your Chime account, and after a qualifying direct deposit of $200, Chime will notify you to enroll in Spot Me. With an activated debit card, Chime will spot you up to $200 when you exceed your balance. Your next direct deposit is applied to your negative balance, and Chime never charges fees or interest for using Spot Me. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/NBA. That is chime.com/NBA. Chime, it feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp North America and Stride Bank North America. Members FDIC. Spot Me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. More specifically, Game Time Picks, the new feature on the Game Time app that enables you to sort through the fluff and find the best available tickets for the event that you want to go to. Cutting out the wasted time, cutting out the wasted money. Game Time Picks shows you everything that you need. Get a panoramic view from your seat in there as well. Get the all-in pricing, a toggle-on feature in the app that shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. The curation on Game Time Picks is so good. It's so much easier now to save that money on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, let's get to the next game. We're talking Memphis and old mates, the Chicago Bulls. Schedule-wise, they both obviously play Saturday, and then Memphis goes into Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and Chicago is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. A lot of players out. Vince Williams Jr. with that grade 3 ankle sprain, which they're saying reevaluating in 4 weeks. I'm saying rule him out for 2 months. Ja Morant is out, Zach Edey's out, Gigi Jackson's out. Johnny Conchar and Marcus Smart, both ill. Smart's been out for like a week plus here with this illness. You would expect that the return is coming soon. As for Conchar, not sure it matters all that much. And then for the Bulls, no Lonzo Ball, no Patrick Williams. Kobe White and Torrey Craig are both probable for the game on Friday. Torrey Craig has a cervical tightening. So shout out to that man and his cervix. Hopefully he is okay there. And Torrey Craig probably, I think, will be a good with those guys. For the Grizzlies, Scottie Pippen is what I want to watch. I like Scottie Pippen a lot. I've talked about Scottie Pippen a lot. I talked about Scottie Pippen a lot in the preseason. Tons. Probably more than anybody. Probably. But what we are seeing at the moment, like, I am discouraged about Scottie's long-term value. And it's true that Marcus Smart might get hurt again or get traded, or Ja Morant will get hurt again when he comes back. But is what Pippen is doing now actually getting you excited? The answer should be no, because he's playing like 25 minutes a night. He's fine, and we still hold him, but like, I need to see the like bang. It's like the Andre Drummond when Joel Embiid is out. Like, the idea of holding on to Andre Drummond was that when Embiid was out, he'd put up 17 and 12 with 2 steals and a block and 3 assists, and he'd do that in 28 minutes a night, and then you hold the down. But like, when you're replacing somebody like Pippen is, and you're getting your 10, 3 and 5 with 1.2 steals, like, and that's best case. Like, I don't know where it goes long term. So let's keep watching that. The stream guys, Brandon Clark will probably start almost assuredly he starts at center again. He's been relatively disappointing, I think, and his upside's sort of low. The other guy I'd look at there is Jake LaRavia, but I believe he's rostered in a lot of different spots, and he didn't quite hit my roster target number here. He was above that, but I really like what LaRavia is able, especially if Marcus Smart is out. I'm very big into LaRavia here. And then Torrey Craig, I don't know that he starts in place of Patrick Williams. He probably does. Why would you ever try Matas Buzelis in that spot? You just wasted a pick 11 on him, I'm guessing. Yeah, again. Hey, that's it. Let's do a spot poll here. 2024 NBA draft. A lot of people, including me, said bad draft. Right? I said that all the time. The top end talent is not there. There are rotation players that happens in every draft, and that is true. There's a decent amount of those guys, but top end stars not really there. That's how I viewed the 2024 draft. That's how I continue to view the 2024 draft. I think even in fact there's been a couple of little surprises, yes, but overall I think it's sort of lived up to it. But what do you think? Because there is always going to be someone, there was always someone who would pop into every one of my shows and comments and go, man, you analysts don't know what you're talking about. This is actually one of the best drafts we've ever seen, the best group of point guards ever. And it's like, okay, yep, all right, no worries. So the long and short of this is, how do you view the 2024 draft class so far? Bad? Good? Average? Up to expectations? Down to expectations? How have you viewed it so far? I would say that it has done exactly what I thought. It's been obviously, like, Dalton Connect has had some good games. He's a shooter and scorer. We know this. Jared McCain has been way better than I like Jared McCain, but he's been way better than I thought. True. But I think overall it's been probably as I expected, if not worse. I think. Which is not very good. Let's do the next game. Yeah, but I do want your feedback on that. Let me know. Next game. This is a tough one to preview because this game is happening on Friday and then the same game is happening again on Saturday. People hate these games, the back-to-back against the same team, the baseball series. I actually love them. I actually think it's really good. Baseball series, I don't know how big a baseball fans you guys are. I know I haven't been, but I've been getting into it a lot the last year. The idea of the same team multiple times in a row, it builds like knowledge of opponent. As a fan of a team, it builds knowledge of the opponents. It enables you to have hatred of an opponent a little bit more and to pick little bits and pieces and see that thing repeated. I actually, from a spectator point of view, from a logistics point of view, from a team and from a planning perspective, I think it makes a ton of sense, to be honest. But people hate it in basketball for whatever reason. Next week, Portland goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and Houston is Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday. Matisse Thybulle is going to be out, and I'm going to expect that Rob Williams doesn't play. Williams is going to play on Friday, so it's a back-to-back, so I don't think he plays on Saturday. Late addition to the injury report on Friday for the Blazers is Jeremy Grant, so they could be without Simons, Grant, and Ayton, and Scoot. Ayton's doubtful on Friday. Scoot, Simons, and Grant all questionable, which you'd argue they're their best four players or biggest four players maybe. So opportunities are going to open up everywhere for Kamara, for Banton, for Klingon, for Williams on Friday, but not on Saturday. So just watch all of that. Steven Adams isn't on the injury report for what day? For Friday, meaning I think he plays his 8 minutes on Friday and he'll sit on Saturday. So I don't think Rob Williams plays for the Blazers on Saturday, and then we've got Simons, Ayton, Scoot with the question marks, and Jeremy Grant. So there could be just some wild stuff going on here. What is really interesting to me is that the way that it currently stands, and at the moment I'm projecting Robert Williams and Matisse Thybulle out, and Simons, Ayton, Scoot, and Grant to all play on Saturday, but I don't know that that's true, is there is not a single player that I project to get minutes for the Blazers on Saturday who sits at below 45% rostered on Basketball Monster. Everyone that I project to get minutes is at above 45%, and I don't think I've ever seen that before. Something will pop up, like a Chris Murray or a Rayan Rupert, who might get 3 or 4 minutes, or a Dwop Reith or someone like that if Williams and Ayton are both out, and we're getting Dwop Reith getting the backup minutes behind Klingon. But at the moment, with the way that plays out, no one is getting minutes. So keep an eye on the Williams-Ayton status, because Reith could be an interesting backup guy. Keep an eye on like a Chris Murray / Rayan Rupert. Denny Avdia will also get a boost, but he is rostered in more spots. And then on the Rockets side of things, Dylan Brooks' minutes are down, and we talked about this yesterday. He still probably is the best streamer. Amen and Tari are already rostered in most spots, so we don't count those guys as stream players at this stage. Hornets and Bucks. This is another one of those ones that I'll talk about that in a second. Schedule-wise, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for Charlotte next week. They've got 4 games. Milwaukee, terrible schedule. Tuesday, Saturday. Really bad 2-game schedule next week. Mark Williams and BDNR Nick Richards are out, I assume. Daquan Jeffries is out. Miles Bridges missed the last game. And I believe I said that he had the knee soreness in the knee that he hyperextended. Apparently, it was the opposite knee. So, is that worse? I don't even know if it's worse. Both his knees are sore now? Both his knees are wrecked? I don't know. So, apologies if I did get that wrong. I'm going to put him as questionable here, Miles Bridges. Chris Middleton, Ryan Rollins are going to be out. And Giannis is listed probable for the game on Friday for the Bucks. I'm just going to put Giannis as questionable for Saturday. He's already probable on Friday. It is a back-to-back. They are against the Hornets. Don't be shocked if Giannis pops up as questionable. Not sure he misses, but just don't be surprised if he's on that injury list. What I want to talk about is Brandon Miller. Because again, Brandon Miller, last 2 games have been fantastic. So I made a comment and said, I think that makes him a sell high. And I don't know if it was on this show, if it was in my Basketball Monster comments or whatever it was. And again, this is how you know that sell highs are possible. When someone said, sell high, what do you mean? He's just getting started. Okay. So someone believes that. And that's okay to believe that. But what he did last game, 38 with 8 threes, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 assists, and a block. It literally doesn't get better than that. He would never do that as an average or even 90th percent outcome. Nobody will. No player in the NBA does that. So if you think that is the definition of just getting started, that is why we sell high. He's been top 25 over the last week or so, maybe top 20 over the last 2 weeks. That's why the sell high exists. Because if someone sees what Brandon Miller's done over the last 2 weeks and goes, yep, it's only on the way up from here, that's how you sell high. And not everybody thinks that. The majority of us will go, yeah, okay, some of this stuff is probably cooling off a bit. Yeah, we all understand that. But not all of us do. Some of us get swept up in the hype. And that is why the sell highs work. That is why they don't work in a lot of other spots, because most of us go, yeah, it's great, but it's not real. But some do. Some actually think that and go, no, it's going to get better. And that's how you can do it. Streams. Cody Martin's been actually really good of late. I think if Miles Bridges is out, it really does help Martin here. He's not going to be a scoring option, clearly. Remember, points are not easy to get off the waiver wire. Actually, I'll rephrase that. Points that matter aren't easy to get off the waiver wire. People will always score, but an average score in a 12-team league is 18 points, and you'll get 7-point players. So yeah, they're technically scoring, but it's so low that it's not that much. And then on the Bucks, it's Taurean Prince, it's Gary Trent, it's AJ Green. Prince is going to start, and you feel more secure in the role because Trent and Green can eat each other's asses at any point, and they go back and forth. And then Andre Jackson gets into the mix, and it gets a little bit messy in terms of trying to predict who's going to be there and who's going to get those minutes, whereas Prince has a little bit safer floor, even if he is an incredibly frustrating and annoyingly bad player. More games to cover. We'll get to them in a sec, but today's episode is brought to you by the good mates and good folks over at Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you do not need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change, and gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. All right, I have meandered through this, so let's just knock out the last two games here. We're talking Golden State Warriors and San Antonio Spurs. This is a back-to-back for the Warriors. They both only have 3 games in week 6, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday for Golden State, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday for the Spurs. So watch that back-to-back there for San Antonio to start next week. Steph Curry is listed probable for Friday, so I'll just put him as probable again on Saturday. Jeremy Sohan will be out, and we don't have the update yet on Victor Wembanyama and Devin Vassell. I say about the Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back next week because you would think that both of those players will sit one of those 2 games. Vassell with his knee soreness and Vic with the bone bruise. And I wouldn't be shocked if Wembanyama sits Saturday and Tuesday and returns Wednesday, and similar for Vassell. But I don't know that, and I don't have any real update on that at this point. That's how I'm going to view this one. I think there is a shot that Wembanyama plays Saturday, sits Tuesday, but I think it's probably more realistic that they just give him this time off and get ready for either Tuesday or Wednesday as a return. Same with Vassell. But again, don't know it. And you know what happens if Wemby is out. We go with old mate, Goldfinger, Charlie Bassey. And we also go with Zach Collins, who despite Bassey being very good, Collins is still producing good numbers. So on the Spurs, I do want to watch Charles Bassey. I don't think that Bassey would necessarily get minutes if Wemby plays, but he's been very good. And it is very easy to get fantasy over the top with someone like Bassey. And you're like, well, he just needs to get all the minutes that Zach Collins gets. And like, okay, I like him. I think he's quite a good player, but we sometimes need to just be cautious about how we view that stuff. But I do want to see if they do anything. Because there were times when like Sandro Mamakhalishvili was getting 9 minutes, 10 minutes a game, and maybe Bassey can get those. Maybe a Bassey-Collins backup front court works. Maybe not, but maybe it does. Let's see how they do that. Stream guys, Lindy Waters is starting. That gives you a floor value. And yeah, Pajemski and Kuminga and Hield are probably rostered, even though they shouldn't be, but they probably are. But I'd rather take the 28-minute upside of Waters and 22-minute floor versus 14 for Gary Payton or 14 for Moses Moody or 17 for Kyle Anderson. So I like the stream of Lindy. And then Zach Collins is going to be your stream, whose value obviously rises if Wemby is out. But even if Wemby plays, Wemby's not playing 33 minutes. I'm very sure of that. So you might get 28 of Wemby and 20 of Zach, which in a game like this might be useful. Now, there are guys like Bubbles Champagne who is worth using. There is someone like the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Can't find the sound. Barnesy. Ready for a sidebar? Yes, at some point in the off-season, I will do a nickname explainer show. I've done one in the past, but they've been updated ones. I will do one. It's not going to happen in season. Maybe I'll do it All-Star break. Who knows? And I just explained the Barnes sound drop and nickname stuff a week ago, I think. So you can go back and find that. Someone can link it if you want down below. Those guys, Stefan Castle, are worthy. So, okay, Steph Castle has got a name, right, that's obviously playable with. I've got to find a good name for him. What can it be? Let me come back to you on that. Bonnie Doon legend, Stefan Castle? Maybe. Let's go on to the next game. The last game. Denver. Lakers. I was hoping I would get something, but I don't, on Nikola Jokic. We don't know yet. The Nuggets go Monday, Wednesday, Sunday in week 6, and the Lakers are Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Aaron Gordon's going to be out. They have not given us the official update yet on Vlatko Čančar. I am unfortunately like 90% sure his season is over, but all they've told us is a long time and foreseeable future and bad luck, and yeah, like it just looks like a retorn ACL. I'm guessing there's a lot of I'm going to say this word, but I was going to say this word, but I think it's got so many negative connotations, and maybe it has negative connotations because that's just what the word is. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, I won't say that word. But there's been a lot of I think obviously it's psychologically damaging for someone like Chancellor trying to establish a career to tear an ACL and then maybe you've torn it again. So I think that maybe just letting processing time happen before that information is released. That's my guess. The big question, of course, is about Nikola Jokic, but we'll find out on Friday because if Jokic plays Friday, he will play Saturday, but we just don't know. We have no idea if he's available or not. And with him out, it's Dario Saric that we look to. For the Lakers, Christian Wood, the Crucifix, and Jared Vanderbilt-Barr remain out. Jackson Hayes should be coming back. I'm going to put him as doubtful at this point. We don't know yet. Jalen Hood-Schifino and Bronny James have been listed out the last couple of games. That literally doesn't matter. They won't play. The big question is going to be Rui Hachimura, who is dealing with this ankle sprain, and then what happens when he returns. He will probably start because for some reason they think he's good. And if he does start, does that mean that Connect goes to the bench, or does it mean that Cam Reddish goes to the bench? We had a really, really good look at Connect in a line or a production outcome that sort of makes sense as a regular thing. We had 17 points and 4 rebounds or whatever, which of course is not that good, but it's okay to hold for now. But if Connect goes to the bench and plays 25 minutes, then that's not a 12-team league player. So it's really, I added, like I said it, I don't like Connect long term. I don't think that he was a huge steal for the Lakers. I will continue to say that. I think he is a shooting player whose shooting numbers have been awesome, but they weren't in college, and he's not this good of a shooter. I'll say all that stuff again. But I added him everywhere because you have to sort of ride that, and you have to ride that streak, and you have to ride that momentum, and they were pumping shots into him. Will that stick, though? I don't know. And that's what we watch. And then Anthony Davis, I'm going to guess he's just going to pop up as probable. He always seems to do that with that foot issue, and he'll be okay to play. So what am I watching for on the Lakers? It's D'Angelo Russell. Simple as that. Because I think we jack.
Get that garbage out of here.
At some point, he could prove me wrong, and I personally, if I had, unless it's absolutely forced on me, I will hold him because, again, the bias is out there. I was burned on that hard last season, and he can resurrect at any point. But it's not looking good at all. In terms of stream, guys, Saric is going to be the guy there if Jokic is out, but Julian Strouder is the other guy that I take a look at. And then if you're looking for defensive stats, even though we brought none of them last game, Cam Reddish is someone that you can take a crack at there for the Lakers. What about schedule plays? There are no back-to-backs on Saturday, Sunday, so maybe we get a little bit chunky. Well, unfortunately, we can't really get super chunky. Chunks, what we do on chunks is we look at the 5-game period of time and see who we can stream in to get 3 games in 5 nights. I say there is no 3 games in 5 nights. That's a lie. And I'll tell you why it's a lie. Because on Wednesday, there are 14 games on the day before Thanksgiving. So, yeah. 1 million teams play 3 games in 5 nights. The problem is that on Wednesday, you can't stream anybody in. So from Saturday through to Tuesday, which is a 4-game window, there are no 3-game in 4 night players there. So everyone just plays 2 games across 4 nights, and then everyone plays on a very busy Wednesday. So there's no chunky value here, and there is no weekend back-to-back, which is a little bit annoying. But one thing I have neglected to do, and I apologize, I started doing this and I've forgotten, I'm so stupid. To do that, we talk about 2-game weeks and how bad they are, but there's never a focus on the non-calendrical, not a real word, maybe it is. I've invented it, and I'm putting it out there. Webster's license fee, calendrical. 2 games in 7 nights. Starting Saturday, Bucks, Sixers, Suns all have 2 games in the next 7 nights. And one of those teams, Milwaukee, plays on Saturday, which means that after their Saturday game, they have 1 game in 6 nights. So your Gary Trents and AJ Greens and Torian Princes, and let's be honest, Milwaukee's Naz Reid, Bobby Portis, he's probably, if he's got 1 game in 6 nights, he is droppable. I think that's he's not good enough to hold through that. And we are heading into week 6 where the value of streaming does start to become more important. So after Saturday's game with the Bucks, 1 game in 6 nights, those fringe guys can get jacked hard. And then Sixers and Suns, 2 games in the next 7 nights as well. That will now bring us into our streaming dreams. Who is the streams of the day? A lot of these guys are just available everywhere, but I think there are opportunities here. It's not a super inspiring group, but I think Lindy Waters is someone that we look at. I think we look at Brandon Clark in 12-team leagues. I think we look at Drew Eubanks, whose value would actually rise even more if both Filipowski and Kessler are out. And then for deeper 16-teamers, I go to Torrey Craig. Russell Westbrook is my Yahoo points stream of the day. Interestingly, Westbrook is like 60% rostered on ESPN. And then, I think that explains a lot about ESPN. And Peyton Watson is my ESPN points stream of the day. Let's dig into that a little bit further and a list of guys on 10 teams. I use a 65% rostered cutoff on Basketball Monster to tell you who I think is maybe a 10-team league guy. So we've got Lindy Waters there. We've got Ayo Dosunmu there, who's been very disappointing. Brandon Clark, Mo Wagner, Buble Champagny, Julian Champagny, and then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Yeah, not exciting, but there's an option there. 12-teamers, I use a 45% cutoff. It is Drew Eubanks, who would push into that upper group. Torrey Craig, Trey Mann, Torian Prince, Cody Martin, and then I've got Zach Collins with an additional Charles Bassey there if Wemby is out, and both of those guys, if Wemby are out, move into the 10-team zone area. For deeper leagues, these are your double Onyx, Diamond, Platinum, Titanium type plays. Josh Green has had 3 out of 4 good games, and the role is there at least as a starter. Cameron Payne, if Juice McBride is out, is very interesting. Luke Kennard is going to get more playing time, I'm guessing, with Vince Williams out and maybe Marcus Smart out. Dylan Brooks is there. Harrison Barnes is there. And then Dario Saric is there. Maybe Saric even gets backup minutes if Jokic returns, but if Jokic is out, then Saric is a stream who jumps up even higher. For your Yahoo Points League streaming, we are going to start with Rusty Westbrook at the top, followed by Peyton Watson, Ayo Dosunmu, Lindy Waters, Flaming Mo Wagner, and Brandon Clark. And then on ESPN Points Leagues, you won't see Westbrook's name here because he is rostered too highly over there somehow. Peyton Watson, Ayo Dosunmu, Lindy Waters, Brandon Clark, Flaming Mo Wagner, and Trey Mann. And that is a preview for Saturday across the NBA. If you've been sticking around to the end of these shows, you know I've been trying to make things a little bit more positive. And since I started doing that, honestly, I felt better personally. I will still fight if someone wants to come at me disrespectfully. I will fight. I will tell them everything I think, and with no problem, right? And I will defend things as best I can, defend other people, right? But as a general positive vibe, it just makes you feel better. And I don't want to turn this into a catchphrase of something that I say at the end of a show, because then it becomes trite. It loses meaning. But I do mean this, right? I do mean this. If you think that if you're having a bad day, just know you have done something good. Right? Remember, you have done something good. You don't even have to know specifically what it is, but there has been something good that you've done today, and there are people in your life or externally that are proud of you, and it's important to know that. I have to remind myself that all the time, because you might do 90-95% of good things during the day, and you do a negative thing, and it gets pointed out or criticized, and it weighs you down, and that's the stuff you remember. I want to remember the good things. It's so much better for healthy living and just general state of mind. So, well done on doing the good thing today. It's important. Keep doing it. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.